Hi, this is Craftin' Kurt, and I'm here to give you 5 of my favorite craftastic tips. My first one is a really simple one. It involves trays. You can get these at the grocery store. You actually will get them anytime you buy vegetables or meat or anything like that that comes in these little styrofoam trays. And what I like to do is keep them, wash them thoroughly and dry them, and save them for my crafting cuts. So for example, if I have chill out that I just cut and I know I need to move on, I'll throw it in a tray and set it aside. If I have all of these flowers and lots of little pieces, especially the flower centers, I put them all in one tray and I can set it aside. If I have this word and I want to layer it, I put it in a tray and I can set it aside. That way, all of my cuts for each particular thing are where they're supposed to be. I'm not confused about, oh, well, was that flower center for the flower or was it the dot for the eye? Everything is where it's supposed to be. It's really simple and really great recycling tip. This tip is all about shading, and it involves not ink, but oil pastels. I love using ink on the edges of a lot of my cuts, but sometimes I want a little more definition or a little more blendability, and that's where oil pastels come in. They're under $5 at Michael's or Walmart or any other craft store, and I love them. So I have an example for you. This is a little bird cage. This side I inked as I normally would, just like that, you can tell. And this side I used oil pastels on. It's a very subtle difference, but it can make a big difference in your project. And as you can see, when you look at it both, you can actually kind of see the difference there. For those of you out there with a UDO screen printing machine, you probably know how difficult it is to screen print on paper without the sticky top of the platen ruining your project. I solved that really easily by using a 12x17 mat on top of my platen, and it sticks to it nicely. And then I actually have line marks, measurement marks to line up my card, because before I give out any card, I like to screen print my Craftin' Kurt signature on the back. However, this left me with another problem. How was I going to make sure that the card stayed secure to my mat while I screen print so that I don't get smudges? I solved that very easily. Post-it notes. Post-it notes have a low-tack adhesive that works really well. I can just put post-it notes, as many as I need, or I think I need, around my card, leaving me a clear area. Then take the post-it notes down to my surface using any tape I like. That really does secure it, and I just did half of it, and it's pretty secure already. Another way that post-it notes come in really handy is when you're doing iris folding. This is one that I sort of started, and although we're working on the back of the paper, you know, sometimes regular tapes, even some of the low-tack ones, can really, you know, really mess up the back of the paper to it's almost coming through. It thins it out to where you can actually see it on the front. So once again, using post-it notes, I'm able to hold this down so that while iris folding, that isn't going to go anywhere. Hi, this tip is actually a very interesting one, and one that I came up with when I was making my Halloween costume, and it all revolves around Mr. Hot Glue Gun. So first you'll need a surface to work on that's not your actual work surface, something with a slickness to it. This is just the shiny side of a piece of freezer paper. You can also use the backing paper from a piece of vinyl. That works really well also. But whatever you use, you can always test it to make sure that your glue doesn't stick to it once it's dry. That's, or cool, I should say. That's the basic thing that you're looking for. So after that, you need to get the stamp of your choice. These are 3 varying types. This is a very inexpensive plastic one, this is your normal wooden one, and this is your acrylic one on its block. They're removable. It doesn't matter which one you use, all 3 will work. Just pick one. I'm going with this one, the little flower. Once you have your stamp picked out, place it on your freezer paper and just trace a very rough shape around it, just making sure that your image will fit inside of your shape, and it'll give you room on all sides. That's all you're basically looking for. After that, your hot glue, fill the area with hot glue. If you have multiple hot glue guns, this is a good time to get them all going, and this can go really quickly. I normally do that. Once the glue is there, it will start to cool slightly, and that is when you come to your stamp. Now, as that glue is cooling, right after you put it down, it's a good idea to go ahead and prepare your stamp, and you just need to lubricate it. I normally use vegetable oil, or even easier, just some cooking spray. And you want to spray the entire surface, not just the image. And just like here, not just the image there, but all the wood also, on your acrylic blocks, the whole acrylic block, including your image. You want to lubricate anything that may come in contact with that glue. So once the glue is just a little bit cool, it's still pliable, but it's not hot, it's a little warm. You take your stamp and you press it down into your glue. When you're done, you'll be left with something that looks like this. Doesn't look like much right now, but you can see that it has an impression in it. From there, you can move on to painting. Acrylic paint will work, just normal craft acrylic paint works fine, just like that. However, it's important to note that you will need to do multiple coats of an acrylic craft paint to achieve full coverage on this. I like to use artist paints, acrylic artist paints. They're thicker and the pigments are a lot richer, and you get a truer color. This is one that I have finished. And actually, let me turn this back over. You may be able to see it better against white. This is just my initial that I did actually with the acrylic block and one of the removable stamps. And I painted it with the artist paint, and then used a little black ink to give a little dimension to the sea, and also used some smooch paint on top just to give it a little shimmer. And see there, you can see the back, that's the color, and then that's what I came up with. Our flower ended up looking like this. I used lime green craft paint, not an artist paint, just a craft paint, and I did 3 coats, and I wasn't really concerned about full coverage over the top. I just wanted to make sure all of my little valleys and grooves had coverage. Once that was done, I heat embossed it using silver embossing powder. And it's important that if you do heat emboss this, that you put it back on your slick surface, because the glue will heat back up and it will become glue again. And it almost makes it look like you know, a very old metal medallion. So whatever you decide to do, these little embellishments made out of hot glue using stamps have endless possibilities, and I hope you guys try it. My last tip is probably the simplest out of all of the tips I've given you, but it is the one that I think is the most valuable out of all of them. And it is a card reference stack. All I did is I took cardstock, and just scrap cardstock, and made all of my normal card sizes, all of the card sizes I make most often. And I labeled them and put the dimensions on, and I just grouped them together and keep them in my craft area, so that when I'm making cards, I know exactly what I need. For example, if I had this word always, and I had it all glued together, and I said, you know, I'm really unsure what size card it'll look best on, I can go to my card stack, and I can kind of say, oh, well, that works on an A2 really well. It comes in handy with the Cuttlebug die cut plates, because you can see what card it will fit best on. You should turn it that way. You can see what card it fits best on. That looks great on that one, so it will work on that one. Probably not on the, well, there you go. I would say, oh, it won't fit on an A2, but it actually will fit on an A2. It will just be the entire front of the card, and that's something that I wouldn't have known unless I had that card reference stack, which saves me cardstock, it saves me time. I don't have to make the card base and then say, oh, you know, this isn't going to work. I have my reference stack ready to go all the time. So card reference stack, best tip I could possibly give you. I hope you've enjoyed all of these craft-tastic tips, and that you try as many of them as you possibly can, because they're all fabulous.